Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So today in this video I want to show you guys how to properly separate pieces like this from a skeletal mesh. Seems that some people it's easy to mess this up. I'm just going to say that it is easy to mess this up, to overlook things. So I'm just going to walk you guys through this real quick. I already saved this project, so I'm just gonna open up a new one. And I'm gonna press A on the keyboard to select everything and press delete. Now I showed you guys yesterday in a video how to match those pieces, the pivots of them, to the bones. Today I'm actually going to show you how to separate them. So I'm going to go to import FBX. I'm going to select the mesh, and I'm going to select my preset. I'm going to show you my preset in case you're importing from Unreal. This is an Unreal Engine import. So if you press this plus sign right here, it'll allow you to name. If you don't enter a name, it will not add it to the preset list. So you name it and press OK. If you don't have a name, it won't add it. So Y forward, Z up, and for the armature, you want X to be the primary axis and Y to be the secondary. So I'm going to import it like that. If you didn't import it right, then the bones might be sticking out of the body, like out of the front of the body, pointing along the negative Y. So anyway, if you don't know how to make the skeleton visible like you normally would when you create a skeleton in here, then you can go to this running man, which is data, go to viewport display and select in front. We're not going to need that for this one. I'm going to select the mesh itself, and I'm actually going to go to object, duplicate object, and I'm just going to click, and you can expand this duplicate objects thing that appeared and make sure those are zeroed out, because you don't want to actually move it. So now you should have a second one with 0.001 on the end of it. What we're going to do is go to object, parent, clear, and keep transforms. So now that we have a separate one, I'm going to hide the other one, and I'm going to go into edit mode. Now on this one, if you go into the materials, you'll see there's two material things. And if we go to UV and we go to the materials, we can deselect the body. And so you'll see this little logo right here. This is only on the chest, so only the chest needs that UE4 chest logo UV material slot. And so because of that, we're going to first separate the chest. So with that, so with this skeletal, this static mesh selected, we're going to press tab, and we're just going to click and drag here, and then we're going to hold down Control and press plus on the keyboard. And you can do this manually by going to select more or less, and pressing more over and over again. But there should be a hotkey for you right here. If you want to change the hotkeys, you can do so from key map right here. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but I will show you that under navigation I have depth selected, enabled. It prevents the zoom from locking, so it's very useful. Now when you go to do this, it's important before you separate these pieces that you make sure that everything that's supposed to be a part of this piece right here is also included. If you don't then it's going to be back and forth between you and the guy that's expecting this from you, and it's kind of aggravating for everybody because then everybody has to do extra work. So it's important that you make sure that you do this properly before you send it to the person you're doing it for, to save you time, to save them time, and to reduce stress, overall stress. So, yeah. So that's it. That's all we need for that chest. If you don't have depth enabled, you won't be able to do what I just did where I went inside the mesh. So, yeah, that's all of it. Now we're going to press P and press selection. Now, this might differ for you if you're on a Mac, but you can go to Mesh, Separate, and Selection. It should show the hotkey right here. Now, every time we separate one of these things, we should do this. We should come out of edit mode by pressing tab, select it, and then go into UV editing mode and press A to select everything. Make sure that you don't have anything like this, because if you do, then you did it wrong. So I just wanted to point that out. Now I'm going to go into move mode, and it's also important you do this, because if you don't do this, then you're going to have pieces that you accidentally overlooked, and again, it's going to be more work for you and the person that's expecting it from you, and it's going to take up to 10 times longer for everyone to get this done when they're working on this together. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Now, the reason why I separated that first is because we want to keep this chest logo for the chest, but for the rest of the body, we want to remove this. So go under Material, select the chest logo, and just remove it, because you don't need that. If you keep it on there, then you're going to have double, possibly double the draw calls, I think. But anyway, it's just good practice. You don't want an empty UV material slot that just isn't being used. So I just wanted to point that out. It might not actually cost an extra draw call. It probably won't unless you have a material assigned to it, but it could possibly. So anyway, it's just important to not do that. You don't want UV slots there that aren't needed. So anyway, with that out of the way, doing the rest of this will be fairly easy. We can go into press this button right here next to your little shader changing things, and just enable X-ray, and you can change the value of this by using that slider bar if you want. I'm just going to press tab, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the head first. And I already know that these little ones on the very outside right here need to be included, because that's part of the inner cap. If you don't include that, then you'll have a hole in the head, in the bottom of the head, and you may not want that. Like I said, it's important that you go into UV mode and you check your UVs. Make sure you don't mess up your UVs. Do this every single time, guys, because, or at the very least, do it at the end. But do it at some point, because if you don't check your UVs and you mess up the UVs, again, it's going to be more work on everybody, and it's going to cause stress. It's going to aggravate people. So, anyway. Also, you should probably just go ahead and label these as you go. So this one is going to be Spino 2, because that's the bone we're going to connect it to. That's the bone right there. So if we come out of here and we select this skeleton and we select this bone here, you'll see that's Spino 2. This is Spino 1. That's what the stomach will be connected to. And then the pelvis, or the hips, obviously, will be connected to the pelvis. So Also, neck 01, that's what the neck will be connected to, head, so on and so forth. You get it. So, anyway, so we have that. Now we're going to do the neck. And now, since we're in X-ray mode, if you do this and you don't have X-ray mode selected, then you're only selecting what you see, and the rest of it behind it will not be selected. That's why I'm using X-ray mode. Makes it easier. And so again, make sure there's no messed up UVs. And I'll show you how to compare these at the end as well. Okay. Now the reason why it's not selecting everything is because right here, this bottom piece is actually a separate piece. It looks like it's one piece, but actually right here at the seam, these verts are not welded. They probably did that for UV purposes, so that they could lay the UVs out better. Oh, that's not pelvis. This one is pelvis. Now, when you get into areas like this, it's important that you really pay attention, because it's going to be easy to overlook pieces whenever you're in tight areas like this where things are overlapping. And so it's important, if in doubt, you come out of X-ray mode and you check and make sure that there aren't any holes in anything, these parts or this part. And then just Control Z to undo. Go into UV mode, check your UVs. It's good. So we're going to call this pelvis. Now we'll go back into X-ray mode and we'll do this. I'm going to do these legs like this first. I'm going to do all the pieces like this. Make sure both sides of those were highlighted. Looks good. Again, always double check your work, guys. Don't be that guy that they keep sending stuff back to over and over and over and over and over again because you keep overlooking stuff. Don't be that guy. Just take the time. It's not that difficult to just, it takes, a couple of seconds to check your own work. That's it. It's not a big deal. So you'll see why I'm doing these in pairs here in a second. Once you've fully separated these pieces, then it's much easier to go back and just properly rename everything afterwards. If anybody knows what those one guys use to show their keyboard keys on the screen, let me know, because I've tried finding software like that in the past, and the only software I've found, I'm afraid it might have malware on it because it's not like from a company that I have ever heard of. So I don't like using stuff like that. So anyway, and now you have your feet. So I'll go ahead and name this stuff. We'll call this thigh, calf, foot. Actually, my bad. I'll just call that hand because I'm going to do the hands last. Again, see, if you don't have X-ray mode on, then it won't select all of them. So go into X-ray mode. We're going to call this foot. And I think this one, yeah. So this one didn't actually have seams right here. It's very weird. You know, with this having been done by the guys at Epic, I actually expected it to not have any problems, but this one actually has weighting problems. It has weighting problems around the balls of the feet and stuff like that. And it just has a lot of inconsistencies that I didn't expect to come from Epic. Not ragging on them, just saying. I mean, it is just a template. It's not meant to be used in a game, so. All right, so let's separate this. Let's come out of X-ray mode here. Oops. Like I said, it only takes a second, guys. Yeah, it only takes a second to check, so just check. This is going to be upper arm. And I didn't check the UVs on that last one. But honestly, normally I'd check at the end. I don't check as I go. At least with the UVs. With the actual geometry, you have to, because you don't want to get to the end and then be like, oh crap, I screwed it up. All right. And it's kind of hard to see it when you're in X-ray mode. That's why I always come out of X-ray mode when I'm checking this part. And what I'm doing is I'm pressing the middle mouse button down over the object I want to rotate around. And that's, and I'm aligning it a little bit too. If you have depth enabled, like I showed you before, then yours should work the same way mine is. So anyway, we'll go ahead and check the UVs on this. Everything looks good. Oops. Now that looks a little funky, but it's supposed to look like that. You can always compare it against the other one. That's why we duplicated it, so that you can actually compare it. And I'll show you guys how to do that in the end, just in case. But now we'll do lower arm. Now I'll show you why I did these in pairs. So now we can go into X-ray mode, and we're just going to press that button there. And now we're going to separate that, come out, and we'll call this IR, L, R, L, so it just makes it faster. And that's pretty much it, guys. I will show you how to compare them here in a second, just as soon as we finish up here. And this is just an extra safety check, just to make sure that nothing actually got messed up that we might have overlooked. Basically what we'll do is we're just going to select everything and then look at the UVs on everything all together. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to, you can shift select everything if you want to do it that way, or you could actually just press A. It's going to select the skeleton too, but it doesn't really matter. So when you come into here, now everything should be selected. You can press A again if you want to make sure that all the verts are selected, but you should see everything should be overlapping here. You shouldn't see anything that looks offset. For example, you shouldn't see a vert on this one poking out ever so slightly, or you shouldn't see one of these string taken off down here, something like that. It's just a double safety check there. That's basically it, guys. I didn't show you the export settings. I'll show you. I'll show you my export settings. So if you export, I'll go ahead and I normally export selected. So whatever is selected over here in the viewport is what will get exported. If you don't have anything selected, it'll export nothing. So for Unreal Engine, I normally set the smoothing groups to faces, not normals only. I use face for Unreal export. For primary bone, same thing, X and Y, and Y forward, Z up. That's basically it. Make sure you uncheck add leaf bones. For this one, it's not important because it doesn't have leaf bones, but you definitely don't want to export a skeleton with leaf bones. And then again, like I said, just press this plus button and name it. That's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video.